like to reopen the regular meeting of the Bronxville Board of Trustees for October 15th, 2024, and ask all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we will start with the mayor's report, and I kind of just want to announce a few things. First of all, thanks to the Historical Conservancy for funding the beautiful repair of the pillars up on Avon Road, entering in, the hilltop. They look beautiful, and that was a great partnership with the Conservancy. Also want to thank the working gardeners are going to partner with us, and I don't think people know where the tennis courts are. Used to be called is called Dogwood Park because it had a proliferation of dogwood trees, many of which have died. So we are partnering with them, and they're going to fundraise for half the project to restore the park to what it looked like in days gone by. And that's in honor of that garden club's 100th anniversary as a garden club in Bronxville. Kind of amazing. Speaking of the tennis courts, they had a wonderful ceremony for Charlie Curtis, who passed away, who was our de facto caretaker over there. And his family came. They have a beautiful plaque on the clay court. And I was amazed. There must have been 50, 70 people that just came by for Charlie's. It was just beautiful. We all just said Charlie would have loved it. Just congratulate the Chamber of Commerce on, they did a great sidewalk sale. They did an Oktoberfest. And they really are trying hard. So just again, my constant desire is for everyone to shop local. And boy, our chamber is really trying to bring folks to the village. I was also asked to speak with County Exec George Latimer on any topic I wanted during his press conference, and I did one of my shop local, and we got some good, other communities who are in the same boat. So it was a good collaboration with the county. Just events coming up. We have this Saturday, our wonderful movie theater is having their party on craft. And it's a party, but it's also a fundraiser. And frankly, we need to get more people in the community. Pelham has a theater, kind of same size we are, same size theater. They have 650 members of their theater donors, and we only have 425. So that theater has been there since 1929. Your mother remembered going to that theater. So any help you can give, even if you can't go to the event on Saturday, just support the movie theater. And Sunday, the senior citizens are having their annual Mary Torino Art Talk over at the library at 2 p.m. and a local art professor and artist, Rory Mulligan, is going to speak at the event. And I wanted to add one more thing. People are so excited about our donating books. You can now bring any books you have over where you do your food scraps over behind the fire station. You can donate books. The books are first given to a literacy program. Then the company can sell them on the internet, and then if they don't sell them, they have a way to actually recycle the paper. So this is a great, because no one seems to want to take our books once we use them.
Is that up and going now?
Yes. And people have just asked how it all works, and it goes literacy program, then they might make a little money, and then they recycle the paper. And
Hats off to the Green Committee.
yeah, good.
And Stephen Shallow really worked hard on.
Good point. It was the Green Committee and Helen and our assistant village administrator, Stephen Shallow, who worked with them. I just think it's a great program. And then the Oktoberfest for our wonderful Chamber of Commerce is October 27th at 1 p.m. over by the train station, the southbound side. And it's music, pony rides, games. It's really fun for the kids. And so that's the 27th. And just one last thing, our colleague, Supervisor Calavito's dad passed away over the weekend. He was in what was very poignant, his dad founded the Columbus Day Parade, and it was the 50th anniversary of the parade, and the supervisor's dad died right before the parade. So we just wanted to extend to the supervisor, because his dad was quite a force in government and politics, and a very nice man. So, and that ends my report, and I will turn it to the village administrator.
Okay, I think I'll just start out by reminding everyone that Election Day is coming up on November 5th, Tuesday, November 5th, and there are some changes in the polling locations for three districts from last year's. So we just ask that everyone, if you're not sure of your polling location, you can go to the village website. We list locations there. You can also call Village Hall to ask for your street what the location is. Or we have a link that'll take you right to the County Board of Elections webpage where you can plug your address in and they'll tell you. But essentially, the Christchurch remains the same for the two polling locations over by Sagamore and Kensington. And of course, Iona University is continuing to be a polling site for those two districts. The other three locations for residents that had previously voted at the firehouse last year will now be voting at the school, at the Bronxville school, via the Meadow entrance. So we'll make sure we highlight that change on the website, but wanted to remind everyone that. Village offices will be closed on Election Day. Village offices will be also closed on Veterans Day on Monday, November 11th. And as a reminder, that means our board meeting will be on that Tuesday on November 12th. Just a reminder again on the curbside leaf collection program, which the village has. If you can please pass on to your neighbors and to your landscapers and to our residents in the audience in the Crawford Drainage Basin, that we need to make sure and encourage everyone to not put leaves certainly on top of the catch basins, near the catch basins, and ideally not in the roadway, because just for a host of reasons this becomes really problematic. And we need to make sure the number of catch basins that we have work. Even though we've gone through a dry spell, we know this can change at any moment. Putting that in the newsletter, but I can't emphasize that enough.
Jim, if residents see leaves on the street or near catch basins, what should they do?
They can call the department. They can call the Department of Public Works, and then we will. Even though we try to be proactive, and then we can send the DPW out, and also send, if we can determine who's doing it, also that property owner violation notice. So again, part of it's being respectful to your neighbors. Frankly, some residents have adopted areas and keep track of catch basins, and that was something that Trustee Fredericks had recommended. But yes, they can call the Public Works office. Also, just wanted to update everyone that, yes, Con Ed finally has finished their gas line installation on Sagamore and Pondfield. So thanks to all those residents that did have to put up with the overnight work on Sagamore and Pondfield and around those circles. That was, it was a challenging project. So I've already walked that route with the Con Ed team. Tomorrow I'm walking it with the paving company so that we can at least get the first section of Sagamore and Pondfield paved. What's the best way to say it? But at least pave that section of Sagamore down to Pondfield and then beyond Compass Realty just before the Griffin Coogan offices. Because then hopefully what the board's going to approve this evening is the other sidewalk bump outs and new traffic, median traffic calming at that area. So we're gonna wait to repave that final section of Pondfield up to Houlihan Lawrence until after this work is done. But the gas line work is done, and we're going to immediately start with restoration. Appreciate everyone's patience. The businesses, it was a hardship for them over the summer, and the mayor and I both fielded a lot of complaints, but that's now done. Just wanted to mention over the last week, our auditors were here, and we'll have our financial statements bound in the coming weeks. Once again, all very positive. They were here for a record short amount of time. Once again, thanks to the record keeping of our village treasurer, who they just continue to sing the praises of. Thank you, Laura, for squeezing that in. You know, when the auditors come in, though, everything's on them. They literally set up a whole team in here, and they have to have every record that they want within 5 minutes, right, Laura?
But you do it, so thank you.
And then the last piece is just, even though the weather's been dry, we continue to work on these important drainage projects, one of which is on the agenda for this evening for to discuss the IMA that you've been working on for the Crawford drainage improvements. And I had also put out on the website the latest plans for the Hamilton, Sussex, Holmesdale drainage improvements, reflecting the neighborhood walks that the mayor and the engineer and I did with many of the residents to clarify and to explain what's taking place. And then today, I walked with the engineer with the plans in hand and highlighted on the street where the catch basins are going, so residents could see those. I think that was important. There was a lot of misinformation with that project. We had our meeting with the neighborhood last month, and I think have been working to lower the temperature, explaining that what we're doing is to strictly a maintenance program, adding catch basins at key locations where residents have emailed us and told us that water is ponding. And so if anyone's listening, you can, if you see a white square, that's where a catch basin is being added in those neighborhoods. And as always, someone can reach out to me, and I'd be happy to meet with them again on site.
Jim, is there a document that now has the catch basins marked out?
Yes, so again, residents can learn about all our drainage projects by going to the village website, villageofbronxville.com. Go to the trustees page. There's a tab on stormwater projects, and then we highlight all those, including the Hamilton, Sussex, Holmesdale drainage, and they could see that latest plan dated October 8th, showing exactly where each catch basin is going. Although I think we've met with all the residents there who will have a catch basin near them in front of their home. So that's all I have.
Okay, before I reach out to my fellow trustees, I wanted to mention that the fire department budget is up, and you know that's a separate piece of our tax bill, and they are contemplating an unprecedented 14.5% increase. And frankly, that has this board concerned. So we are just looking into, and their meeting is tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. at the main firehouse on Main Street in Eastchester. And their budget is on their website. And I just think it's very important residents know, I mean, that's a huge dollar amount.
Their budget is bigger than.
Bigger than our budget,
entire
yes.
Village budget.
Yeah, and it's also bigger than Tuckahoe's budget, and we're just concerned about, it doesn't look like this is a one-shot anomaly either, which not only is it 14%, but based on some of the projections, it looks like it's going to stay up there. So I think we all just appealing to the residents that it's a hefty part of our tax bill, so everybody really should, be concerned about a number like that.
Everyone in the village of Bronxville pays a lot more for fire protection than they do for Bronxville police protection.
Yeah, so that's true. So trustees, anything I forgot or you would like to add on any subject?
I'd just like to add a couple of quick minor points, or not really, not so minor points, depending on your perspective. The village administrator mentioned on-site election day voting. There is early voting at the Eastchester Public Library from October 26th to November 3rd. Each day, the hours vary a little bit. Jim, I don't know whether those hours are on the village website, but they are on the eastchester.gov website. Again, some days have, they open up a little early. Some nights they stay a little later, but for people who find it more convenient to early vote, the dates are October 27th through November 3rd. And then I just want to mention that I had the pleasure of being at an Eagle Scout honor court ceremony on Sunday. Unfortunately, it conflicted with the parade in Eastchester, but I think all of us on the board joining congratulating Matthew Prasad and Rowan Merluccio, who I think are like the 106th and 107th Eagle Scouts from our Troop 5 here in the village. It's really a remarkable Boy Scout and scouting program that we've had in the village, dating back from before JFK's time as a young man. Of course, our most famous Bronxville Boy Scout, but it's really great to see the scouting program thrive in the village, and to see 2 more Eagle Scouts.
Perfect. Anything else that we might have? No? We're
I
good?
just want to mention, Mary, that the Chamber Festival on the 27th,
Yes.
I think it is, that's actually like a kids' fall festival.
Yes.
So bring your kids, they're
Good
going to
point.
have rides and
Yeah.
ponies and all kinds of fun activities.
Very
for kids.
kid-centric.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good, thank you. All righty, then we will move on. Do I have a motion to approve minutes from the executive session and the work session of September 9th and the regular meeting of September 9th?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Mary Ann, thank you again. Terrific minutes. Thank you. All right, new business. First item is an authorization of security camera purchase using a New York State technology grant. Jim, anything to amplify on that?
Not really. Consider
Yeah.
housekeeping. The PD was able to secure that grant for us that was over $150,000, so there'll be many projects that'll be coming down using that monies, but this is a new state-of-the-art camera to replace what we have over there at the post office.
Okay.
And it actually covers the front of the post office, or where?
It shoots in the post office in multiple directions up Pond Field. Yep. And that one's $3,700. Yep. So the money's there. It's coming from that tech grant. That'll be on.
Okay.
I'll move it.
I'll second it. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Also, then, we need to authorize for funding and purchase of fingerprinting equipment for the police department. And again, this is, it's $22,100. And is it because it's better? The other one has,
We need new.
that's what I thought.
Yes, we need a new we need a new system, which again it's called LiveScan, and it has multiple, but it's a very automated system with palm prints, et cetera, and even for mugshots, if you will. So what we have is long since outdated. Yeah.
That's what I thought. All right, would anyone like to move that?
So moved.
And it's,
A quick
yeah.
question, so this doesn't come from the grant money, that's coming from the general fund?
Yes, and some of this had already been set aside in prior debt service, so, and then the remaining amount was coming from unassigned fund balance, yes, so, yep, not grant monies. Yep.
Okay, I need a second for the finger.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, and the next item actually consists of two resolutions that you could, if you so choose, could adopt both at the same time. And they involve closing out capital projects that have been completed. And you have a spreadsheet by the treasurer listing probably about 30 capital projects, and this is something that the auditors also want us to do, projects that have since been completed. The funding was all in place, and the spreadsheet you have shows the budget, total expenditures, total revenues for all the projects. And just for the public's edification, it ranges from everything from a building department copier to, again, additional security cameras and
Fencing.
vehicles, and this covers many years. So again, you'll see these from time to time in the financial statements in the back, and we're really just trying to clean all these, basically close them out. And this is also something, Lori, correct me if I'm wrong, that the auditors are now looking for as a resolution showing that the projects, yep. Yeah, and that they be closed. And in conjunction with that, the one other item is the Route 22 crosswalk. That project is also being closed out. However, the board is authorizing the use of monies from unassigned fund balance to close that particular project out. And for the public's edification, that total project was $256,000, and as you recall, 170 of that was funded through the grant from Senator Mayer's office. However, the village did not fund that project through a bond or a band at the time because we had put the project on pause. So I just wanted to emphasize that. That one you are authorizing the use of unassigned fund balance of $86,000 so we can close that project out. Otherwise, you can see the fund balance on the other projects are all zero. And again, the other projects go back, in some cases, many years, even when we did the LED light, street light conversion, tennis court reconstruction of courts 4 and 5. That goes back several years ago, and of course, the traffic signal intersection out here, so, sorry.
So would you consider, like, every year, are you going to kind of consolidate things like this and do it once a year,
As
or?
opposed to waiting over,
Because sometimes a capital project can't be closed if there's a ban open. So you have to wait until it's fully bonded and paid for in full before you can close out. It doesn't necessarily mean that the project is still active. It just means that the financing is not being finalized today.
But the answer is probably a few, every year. But as Lori said, these projects also can go into multiple years.
Yeah,
in
no,
some
no, I
cases,
understand,
yeah.
but just to consolidate.
But I think this is a large cleanup of closing out what had all been completed and funded.
Great.
Lori, thank you, because I remember talking to the auditors before you were our treasurer, and this was one of their few criticisms of us, is that we didn't close out projects as soon as they were used. So thank you, because I just remember they weren't fond of some of these open lines. So thank you. I will move that then.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Are we doing that for the crosswalk as well as the
Yeah.
capital projects? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next item is a resolution to consider for the intersection improvements on both the west and east side. As background, as many of the community know, we've had the temporary bollards in place, the yellow stanchions, I call them, on the west side circle, where we tested that for well over a year, closing off the left-hand turn coming out of Leonard Mirage Square. So this resolution awarding this work includes some of that work on the west side, and it also includes items on the east side. This too, for the public's edification, this whole plan is available on the village website under that same trustees page under a tab of vehicular and pedestrian improvements, so someone could see it in detail. But in short, it's just, again, that continuing effort of improving pedestrian access, reducing the pedestrians' exposure in the crosswalk by bumping out curbing at crosswalks, like in the case of the entrance to Leonard Mirage and Parkway Road and Milburn. By bumping out the sidewalks there, will provide better visibility for the pedestrian and for the motorist coming out of the Avalon lot, whatever that building is called now.
The villages.
I'm sorry, the villages. And again, shrinking the width of the crosswalk there. And there'll be a new median on Parkway on the approach to the west side circle, which will allow the pedestrian walking from Leonard Mirage over to the Palmer side to have a level of protection. So it's going to be a slightly wider median. Of course, we eliminated the left-hand turn coming out of Leonard Mirage. So a new crosswalk island there will be built where we have the planters, and that's so again, to make all that safer and smoother. And then crossing on the west side, crossing just before the underpass for pedestrians, we're bumping that out. And also making these ramps fully, of course, handicap compliant and accessible with the impairment pads for those visually impaired pedestrians. So those are part of the improvements. And then on the east side, we are pulling the crosswalk from where it currently is to be aligned with the intersection with Valley. So farther down to provide better sight line for motorists coming up out of the underpass. They'll be coming up with the crosswalk farther down. So whereas right now it goes from the soccer store over to the middle of Griffin Coogan. So that's being pulled down. The island's also being expanded. There, the sidewalk is also being bumped out a little bit. And in some cases, like on the west side circle, where we're doing those bump outs, there's going to be an area of mulch that could potentially be an area for additional planting. So we're trying to also soften that area up. And actually one of the wonderful aspects on Parkway on the approach to the west side circle is the sidewalk will now be much farther in to almost give a little bit of a boulevard. So there'll be a nice protection for the pedestrian coming down the sidewalk, and then a green space, and then the curb, and then if any of that makes sense. So people can view those on the village website. So we went out to bid. One bidder, the low bidder was Landy Contracting. For these total of 5 components for what I just explained is $645,568. And if the board awards it tonight, in conjunction, and I should say, we also, that is being that 645,000 is being complemented by a $150,000 grant that Assemblywoman Amy Poland had provided for the village, reducing that cost. And then the village is going to also get some reimbursement from Con Ed for some of the demolition they did at the existing island. So if the board approves this, we'll work with the contractor to start scheduling that work to be able to do some of this while weather permits and to try to minimize disruption around the holidays.
Perfect.
When will it be completed?
Yeah, how long will it take?
I should be ready when you ask me that.
2 months, 3 months?
Again, I think if weather permits, we might be able to have this done by early in the new year. Again, it's mostly curbing and some sidewalk bump outs.
And then the paving would occur in the summertime?
The paving would occur at the latest at the latest in the spring. Again, but if the weather permitted, ideally, if we were able to coordinate the work on the east side as such with the removal of the on-street dining, then we would pave that in December. But again, it's worst case, it would be in the spring.
I just want to say that I think these are amazing improvements. I mean, they're so vital in these particular business areas on the east side and the west side as people are walking, and we're really encouraging people to walk in the business district. So, thank you for all the work you've put into this and all the plans that you've reviewed. So I think this is going to be a really important improvement.
It'll help. Oh, and of course, what I forgot is these bump outs are also going to be at Park Place and Craft, so that will help. And then next year, we've been discussing with Senator Shirley Mayer that she might assist with funding another level of improvements along Craft when we get some additional drawings that might make that area even more attractive, including perhaps a median coming up Craft, a raised table across Park Place. What I would do is provide you more samples. At this point in time, we would just repave that intersection, do the bump outs, but perhaps in the foreseeable future, we could put a raised table with perhaps Belgian stones, something to make it a little bit more.
So would the west side improvements be done first and then the east side? Because maybe then by the time the east side work gets done, maybe that raised table, all those things you just mentioned can be incorporated at the same time.
Yeah, my goal will be to try to immediately get the contractor out so we can start strategizing, get as much as we can done.
And on the paving, Jim, you had said that if we don't make the December timeframe for paving, then it probably closes down due to weather, but then maybe you could start back up in March. Weather
As soon
dependent.
as we can, as soon as the plant's open back up,
Yeah.
yes, because we would want to, right, depending on how the outdoor on-street dining is going to pan out for 2020, right, so,
Yeah.
yes,
And before the street dining goes back up.
yes,
Yeah.
yep.
And I think it's
Lots to
just
coordinate. yeah.
important to recognize that this has been, it seems like it's taking long, but we've had to have traffic engineers, then we had to have the police department, and then the police department has to check that what the engineer is wanting to do goes along with the New York State vehicle and traffic laws. So there's a lot of steps to make sure that, frankly, we're doing it correctly.
Right, and the
So-
last thing we wanted to do was put these improvements in on the east side and then have Con Ed rip it up to put the gas line
Right.
in. So
Yeah.
even though the businesses and residents endured some pain over the summer, a new gas line is in now, so it just, it made sense to coordinate that with that work.
May I just throw in while I'm thinking about it, when we're talking about traffic and pedestrians, any update from New York State about the pedestrianized intersection at Pondfield and 22?
So the update on that was, as I do every spring, emailed them, and they pushed that project off to a 25, 26. They were telling me it was, even though we told them they would need some easements on the corners for the new ped buttons, that was part of their, well, actually, their answer was, Jim, we lost engineers, and we didn't anticipate needing a slight easement at a couple of those corners, and it resulted in additional delays, so it wasn't part of the 24, 25. And the mayor and I immediately notified Shelley and Amy. I don't know if they could do anything. I think they heard the same nonsense from DOT, we're short-staffed. But yes, so we just...
Well, it's important in fairness to us, because we asked for this 14 years ago. So this is not like we're mad because it's 1 year later. We have asked for 14 years to get this intersection, and
Amy and Shelley don't
and-
have any...
no, it doesn't appear, because everyone knows 22 is the only road in the village that is a state road. We have no county roads, but it's just, we're all frustrated on this one because it just falls on deaf ears. And our representatives try hard for us, but it's sort of immovable. All right, so,
Mayor,
yes.
This is obviously a fairly large project, and Landy has won it. Can Jim just talk a little bit about Landy and what they've done in the village and how good the work that they've done to date?
They're going to be working in Homesdale.
Yeah, they've done a lot of projects in the village. Probably the most notable is they actually were the recipient of the contract award to redo the entire Parkway Road lot. They demolished the old service station and built the new parking lot, so that was one of their larger projects in the village. But countywide, they're just very accessible, very competitive, and actually even most recently did the column work for the Bronxville Historical Conservancy. But yes, and their specialty is curbing and curbing work, sidewalk work, etc. So yeah, lots of projects over there. A lot of sidewalks they've done.
All right, do I have a motion to award this bid?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Yeah, I'd just like to belatedly join in your comments, Mayor, and in Trustee Knapp's comments about these improvements. I think we have waited a while, to get them done, but I think they're really going to make a difference.
Yeah.
And I drive past that intersection over on the west side, every day when I go to park, and I'm sometimes amazed that more people haven't been hurt crossing some of those streets. So it's going to make a real difference and further improvement of walkability for the village.
Perfect. All righty, so did we pass that motion? Yes. Okay. Now we're back to the police department. Boy, they're getting front and center here tonight, where they need a new voice recorder. Do you want to, Jim, expand on that at all?
Not really, just overdue also.
Yeah.
And the funding from this, Jim, is that from the grant, or is this from debt service?
This will be future debt service. This will be new debt. The total amount was $17,740.
And so this would be a voice recorder on the main line, so if someone calls in on 911, their voice is being recorded.
Very important, yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion to accept
I'll
it?
move it.
And, okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, the next one, we discussed a little at work session, and I'm not quite sure. It's a resolution to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Eastchester for drainage improvements in the Crawford Drainage Basin. And is this something Council, you had mentioned a couple things on this.
You authorized me or directed me to draft an intermunicipal agreement, which I had been discussing with the Eastchester attorney even prior to drafting it. We started with a memorandum setting forth the major principal substantive terms, and then Eastchester said that they were in agreement enough with them that we could go ahead and draft an intermunicipal agreement. So I did that. and forwarded it to the Eastchester attorney. I've been in discussions with him. He's pretty close, I think, to signing off on the terms. But really, what they're doing now is just being sure about the engineering drawings that will be attached. So I think we're very close. I'm hopeful we are, to agreement on both sides. And we're already in agreement. We drafted it, but agreement from Eastchester that we're ready. But I don't have a final document to give you because we don't have the final engineering plans to attach yet. We're very close. So I would think, hopefully by your next meeting, I think, hopefully you'll be ready to go forward with this.
And we could also, well, just to be clear, not any blame, but we're not missing any documents on the Bronxville side. We're waiting for,
Correct. What's gone on, Bronxville's, the agreement provides that Bronxville's engineers would prepare the engineering drawings for one part of the project, and Eastchester's
Right.
engineers would prepare the drawings for another part of the project, and then the engineers would coordinate
Right.
with each other to make sure both ends of the tunnel meet, so to
Right.
speak. So, and that's the process that's going on now. I think it's in the final phase of both engineers talking, if I'm not mistaken, Jim, and I think they're very close to being in agreement.
Yeah, and I think,
To answer your question, and
Yeah.
without a lawyer's answer, you are correct. The part that the village was to do is done, except this final engineering discussion.
okay.
and again, I think one of the items you wanted this on the agenda was to provide outreach to the community, to the public. So if you direct me, I believe the IMA, the IMA, the draft IMA with the town of Eastchester is already on our website.
Right.
But I'll confirm that and put the latest plans to date also on that website. And again, and this is on the, again, on the village website, under that same link for drainage improvements under the trustees page. There's a section for Crawford, and I'll make sure that, I believe the IMA is there so the public can see it, and I'll put the latest plans to date. But to Jim's point, yeah, the engineers have been in communication with one another, but I believe in the case of the town's engineer, he was running some alternate scenarios for drainage through the golf course, and that is what I haven't seen that final piece.
We could also, though, if they're close, we've done it for other things, we could have a special meeting one morning so that we don't have to wait an entire month we've done that to move things along,
Yeah.
correct?
And on your part, you already have reviewed
Right.
the original document which set forth the principal business terms and made changes to it and passed on it. You reviewed the draft IMA, so, and you and Jim know your own engineering plan. So, yeah, that's another lawyer's answer. The answer is yes.
The answer is yeah. Okay. Because some things it's frustrating if Eastchester comes in with these plans at the end of the week, we don't need to wait 3.5 weeks to, okay.
Correct.
So okay. And as long as we're talking about that, it was mentioned, talking about the Sussex-Hamilton plans and the Homesdale, Sussex, Hamilton, that whole quadrant, that frankly, there was a concern that it was a conflict of interest for a village trustee. In this case, Trustee Behrens lives near the proposed project, and I just want to bring it forward because for the Crawford project, Deputy Mayor Underhill lives within the vicinity, and there was a concern that somehow there was a conflict if you live near the project and perhaps your home was going to be benefited by the project in some tangential way, that people should not be voting for the drainage project. So we went to our attorney, and you gave it to one of your partner's assistants, and basically it's, she did not identify any conflicts under the village's ethics code. The code states that nothing in this section shall be construed to prohibit a village officer or employee or other person from receiving a village service or benefit or using a village facility which is generally available to residents or a class of residents in the village. Many residents will benefit, for example, from drainage improvement, not just a single trustee. There's also no conflict under the general municipal law. Case law indicates that a speculative claim of possible future benefit would rise to the level of conflict of interest. And it said there was no court cases to prove that. If you're among a class of people benefiting from a particular improvement, basically the courts have said it would make all but a handful of property owners in a village ineligible to sit on a board in such matters. Basically, the village is so small, like, for example, I live right near where these roads are going to be repaired, so I couldn't vote. Anyway, there's both under general municipal law and our village code of ethics, there is no conflict of interest for a trustee or any employee to benefit from a large project. So I just wanted to make that clear because I know that was a concern for some people.
I think that's very useful.
Yeah, I just think going forward, it's important because it's such a small village. This is going to come up.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, for doing that.
Okay. All righty. Okay, so then we move on to authorizing the purchase and financing of a village hall building management system.
Did we circle back on the Crawford, that we're going to postpone it till next?
Yeah, we're going to postpone it, but if we get materials from Eastchester in expeditiously, I would ask that we call a special meeting. Is everyone in concurrence with that? Okay. No, you're right. Thank you for clarifying that. Helen, do you want to talk about the village management? Because that's a green committee, just because you work so much on the, just that it's our system to kind of track how we're doing.
Yeah, this was one of the suggestions of the report that they did, that they suggested that we put this kind of a system in place to help monitor the systems for efficiency and carbon emissions in our efforts to become more green in a more systematic way.
Perfect.
And that's also, by the way, any commercial office building anywhere of any size is going to have one. So this would just be standard practice for any property within the private sector.
And just having this data will make it much, more efficient for us to be able to analyze what our needs are and to, purchase systems and in the future that will help maximize efficiency.
Would you like to move it?
I'm just looking for the page to make it the official wording.
Yeah, here we are.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Okay, so I hereby move that we authorize the establishment of a building energy benchmarking policy for municipal buildings, and whereas NYSERDA is offering the opportunity to apply for up to $50,000 to fund a building management system which would accomplish the village's building energy benchmarking objectives, and whereas the village has received a quote from Empowered Buildings for a Reliant Controls building management system for $62,268. So we resolve that the board authorizes the purchase of the BMS system for that amount of money. and that we authorize NYSERDA grant funding for this amount, and the balance to be paid from unassigned general fund balance transferred from the capital fund. Do I have a motion?
Yeah, that was a mouthful. Yeah. I'll move
Might
it.
as well be complete. You know?
Yeah. Any second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes. And trustee Barron's, important on the IMA that we didn't reiterate that, Mr. Palmer, you're going to double check that everything current, our part of the IMA goes on the website as well.
Yes.
Okay, I just, because that is important, that,
Attachments.
yeah, all the attachment, yeah, that all the plans go onto the website. Okay,
Jim, I'll give you a draft in the morning that has the latest tweaks.
Perfect.
They're minor. Yeah.
okay. All righty, we have one last resolution H on small claims assessment review. And our village assessor managed to settle 24 decisions with folks in town. And I thought he did an amazing job working with everybody. So the village needs to refund $12,000, and the school needs to refund $45,000 based on our percentage of the village budget. And I just thought he did a terrific job working with, 24 homeowners, and to only have to refund those kind of numbers is a testament to our residents and our assessor. So I will thank him here and move for the SCAR settlement.
Also, I think it would be appropriate, Mary, to thank our Board of Assessment Review, too.
Good point.
Our fellow villagers that sit to review all of these. That's a big job.
It is a big job. It is. Thank you. Would you like to move this?
Yeah, I'll move this. I think it does reflect the fact that we have, our valuation system, our assessed values here continue to have a high degree of integrity. And that's something we should all be really happy about.
Well, I know we all worked so hard on it, but prior to revaluation, the average was 300 claims, and these are 24 claims. And the villages of our size are still up in the 300s and 400s of claims. So to your point, it is a testament to residents, the review board, and to the assessor. To only have 24 claims is almost unheard of, actually. All right, you moved it. I need a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Trustees and Jim?
Then we're just going to add the one other item, if you would, just to authorize the appointment of the police officer candidate that you interviewed this evening
heavens, thank
at
you.
second-year officer salary at the earliest date authorized by Westchester County. If someone would consider that.
Perfect. Would you like to move that?
I'll move that.
Yes.
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I think we would, I'll add that we interviewed as our dual role of police commissioners in the village. We interviewed a candidate for the police department to join as a patrol officer who would be coming from New York City, and is truly an outstanding addition to our force.
Yeah. And we all agreed after meeting him, and that's why we added it as an addition on the agenda. And thank you, Jim. Thank you. All righty. At this point, we open it up to anybody in the audience who wants to talk about any topic. And all we need is if you would come to the podium and just give a name and an address. Everybody? No? Okay, okay. No, you're welcome
Feel
to.
free to ask.
Yeah,
And please feel free to attend future meetings as well. It's great to have an audience.
yes, we love having you here. Thank you. But,
Raise your
How are
Any?
things going with the village from your point of view?
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Hi, I'm Emily Polakowski. I wanted to ask, as far as the crosswalk at Bronxville and 22, is there a resource that we could reach out to? Because I know that there has been much frustration with how long that has taken. Is there a representative within the DOT that we could reach out to, or would that be more reaching out to Shelley Mayer, Amy Paulin? What is the proper channel for that?
Well, we thought, we get pretty, just honestly, stonewalled at DOT, just saying they don't have enough people and that. And so we did reach out to our Assemblywoman and our Senator, and I think they feel the same. They thought they would have more sway of,
That could be the DOT. Check it.
Hold it, yeah.
no, you know what it says? Scam likely. So I think we'll loop back to Amy and Shelley and see if, but it doesn't seem like even our electeds are surprised at how little they are able to move the,
I just feel like somebody's got to be setting their agenda and schedule, right? Somebody's got to be
Shelley clearly
able
knows
to.
of this issue, so.
yeah.
Please reach out. The more you reach out,
Well, that's what I figure. I think
Yeah.
that the more voices that
Yeah.
are backing, are asking for this,
Yeah,
Right.
Supporting
the more
us.
likely it's going to happen.
Yeah,
So
no,
we can
I'll
tell
find
someone.
out if we can have a little suasion of population, maybe if we,
I mean, you could certainly send an email to me that I would be happy to forward to the Region 8 Regional Department of Transportation Director, who I correspond with regularly, to just share that frustration and, include Shelley and Amy on the email.
yeah, that's,
And you
yeah,
can,
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
gathering
figuring. I think
signatures
we
is
can
never a
gather-
bad idea.
yeah,
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. And thank you for coming tonight, we do love an audience.
It's great for people to have visibility into what's happening in the village. And we're all volunteers, and so it's really great to see what this involves. So thank
Thank you, thanks for
you
coming.
very much.
I need a motion to close.
So moved?
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Right.
Aye, and we meet again on November, because it's a
Well,
holiday.
it'll be November.
November 12th. So come back, 7 o'clock on the 12th. Yeah, thank you.
November 12th.